चश्मा दे दीजिएगा। बोलिए।
Good afternoon, ma'am. Your PPTs are visible. आपके you are muted. आवाज.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, now you are audible.
And the PowerPoint is also visible?
Yes, yes, very
Make
nice.
it full screen. Huh? I
Let's
make
wait
it
for
full
some
screen.
time. Yes.
Sir, you need to introduce. लॉन्ग मिल सकता है। Hello, you'll be there now to introduce? Ach, check.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, sir.
Uh, on behalf of Aryavarta Sahodaya School Complex, I welcome all the participants. And today we have with us Rama ma'am with a very captivating topic nowadays, that is disaster management. And I now request Rama ma'am to please start the session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for
Thank
giving
you,
me
ma'am.
an opportunity to speak and ponder on this very important topic. And why important for schools is a very new topic. And why disaster management has become so important for the schools, for the educators, and why should we ponder on these tidbits of this disaster management? That will be clear after some time. But first of all, thank you. Thank you, Himanshu sir, and thank you all the heads of Aryavat Sahodaya for giving me this opportunity. So first of all, when we talk about disaster means bad star, bad luck, and they are actually serious and often sudden disruptions to the entire community that cause widespread human, material, economic, and environmental losses, losses of life, losses of property, losses of peace. So these losses exceed the ability of the affected area or the affected community to cope with it using its own resources. मतलब डिजास्टर बड़े पैमाने पर ध्वंस बोल सकते हैं, लेकिन उसके साथ it is something which you cannot cope with your present resources. So that can be flood, that can be earthquake, that can be drought, and there can be so many types of man-made disasters also. It can be industrial accident like Bhopal gas tragedy. We couldn't forget it even after so many decades. And then there can be the modern warfare. There can be some nuclear disaster. All these are man-made disasters. And in recent past, we have seen some very, very complex type of disaster like the pandemic, the corona age, we all have seen. And it was a disaster. It caused a lot of loss of life, lot of loss of community, the entire community, maybe the entire family was wiped away. So these are disasters, and we will talk about it. The question is, why should we know about it? Why should we be concentrating on managing disaster, and that too at school level? So just now I was saying that if we see the data, if we analyze the data for the past 50 years, not more than that, we will see that the occurrences of these disasters have gone manifold, at least 5 times in the past 50 years. And it's not only the natural disasters which are maybe caused by climatic change or the other types of environmental degradation, but the man-made disasters are also on rise, and these has become the new normal. कुछ गलत नहीं होना वही आजकल एबनॉर्मल हो गया है, और बहुत बड़े पैमाने पर गलत होना वही आज नॉर्मल है. And when we talk about schools, schools are not only the hubs of learning. The schools are not only the centers for dissemination of learning. Schools are also, you can tell, it's a small representation of the entire society, of the entire community. You look at your school, there are different classes, different age groups, and the students are coming from different economic backgrounds, different cultural backgrounds, different religious background. And when you talk about these things, you will know that actually a school is a small epitome or a small representation of the entire community. So when we are talking about disaster which affect the entire community and cause widespread losses and destruction, and it exceeds the ability of the entire community to cope using its own resources, then schools are not untouched. In recent past, we have seen the school shootout cases. The schools are attacked by terrorist groups, and industrial accidents which can affect anyone. There can be gas leakage, there can be fire, there can be electrical fire, and then the natural calamities are also there. So it's high time that we start thinking about managing it at our own level to prevent widespread loss. So let us see, but before going into the depth of this particular topic, we will know about some important keywords. What are the important keywords? The first one we are talking about, and this is very, very often we use it. Whenever we talk about disaster, we talk about these things. So the first thing is, I'm sorry, I think I have to go back. Just a minute. What happened? How to go back? Just a minute. How to start it from the beginning? Just, yeah. So, the keywords we were talking about, the first thing is the hazard. What is hazard? A hazard is any natural or man-made event. And in case of hazard, this is a potential reason to harm the community. You can talk about many hazards like flood, cyclone, landslide, chemical spill, industrial accidents. All these are hazard. And when we talk about risk is actually the probability of that harm being realized in a specific incident. ये जो hazard है, जो हो सकता है, जो एक potential cause harmful हो सकता है, तो the probability of being it a reality, that becomes a risk. And when we talk about exposure, it refers to the presence of people or property or infrastructure, to the presence of it near the hazard, where the hazard may occur. So you can talk about a coastal city, a city near the sea, which may be exposed to cyclones very often because of its location. So first is hazard. Hazard is any natural or human-made event or process which can cause harm. And risk is the probability of that harm being realized into a practical incident, harmful incident. Exposure is the presence of people or the property or the other system near to it so that the hazards may occur. And vulnerability, it describes the condition that make the system more susceptible, more prone to the damaging effect of a hazard. Why we are talking about these keywords? Because these keywords are going to be used in our entire presentation, and it is very, very important for us to know about all these keywords, because that will make the entire presentation more clear. So let us go to the next slide. Something happens. It stops working. I don't know why. Anyone who can help?
You stop share and then
Yes. Then again, I have to share, no?
reshare.
Share the content, but it's not coming in. It's coming like, the next slide is not coming.
No, it's got shared. अब आप आइए वहां जहां आना है आपको.
But it's not coming. The particular slide, I'm trying to move to the next slide. It's not coming. I don't know
Not
why.
coming means आप then you leave the meeting, rejoin please.
That I can do.
First you stop sharing. then leave.
Okay. Then let me first open it and go to the first or second slide, whatever I want to go. Yes. Yeah. Uh, is it visible?
No.
No. PowerPoint slideshow. Not visible.
For that, you have to share.
Yes. Now share. And now this. Is it okay now? The slide change is not occurring. Okay. Sir, let me sign off and rejoin. Yeah. Now it is unmuted. Thank you. Mhm. I'm very sorry because there was some technical problem. So I could not change the slide. I think this will be taken care of now. We have already talked about the keywords. Now we are going to talk about disaster risk and actual disaster. We have already talked about what is a risk, what is a hazard, what is a vulnerability, and now we will know about what is actually the disaster risk. The disaster risk, this is a potential for loss of life. And if you want to actually calculate the risk, there's a risk equation which tells that risk is equal to hazard into vulnerability into exposure divided by capacity. So you can see that risk increases with hazard, with vulnerability, and with exposure. But it can be its magnitude, its impact on our life, its impact on the community can be dealt with by our capacity to cope with it. And when we are talking about our capacity, the capacity depends on our awareness and preparedness. Means we need to be aware of that particular disaster. We need to be aware for the reason of it, and then at the same time, I'm in a meeting. So at the same time, if we are prepared, if we drill properly, if we know how its impact increases and how it can be decreased, then we can cope with it more efficiently. And there comes the management. When we talk about management, it is actually using our available resources in such a way that we can reach our objective. So when we are talking about the schools, we need to take care of the safety and security of our students, because in an environment where safety and security are not in place, their learning cannot happen. So to continue with learning and to take care of our little ones, we need to be aware of disaster management. So when we talk about disaster management, it is the organized process. Remember, it's not only a process, it is organized, it has to be organized. Otherwise, the capacity cannot be developed. So it's the organized process of preparing for the disaster. And once it occurs, then you need to respond to it efficiently. Then you need to mitigate. Mitigation means to decrease the effect. So the best way of disaster management, I tell it in the form of a small equation. The first two are before mitigation comes. First is prevention, then preparedness, then response, then recover, and the last is mitigating, and then you come back to your prevention. So what happens, you can remember it in the form, it's P square plus R square plus M. So P square, prevention and preparation, R square, responding to and recovering, and M is mitigating. So these are the different, you can tell, different facets of disaster management. We are going to talk about it. And here the key aspects are importance of planning and preparedness and focusing on holistic development and safety. Now, I have already told that when you talk about disaster management, how to manage it efficiently. First is, I told, prevention. Sometimes prevention altogether is not possible, but of course we can reduce its occurrence and you can minimize the risk. So disaster risk reduction is nothing but prevention and minimizing risk. And when we talk about preparedness, after prevention comes preparedness. Preparedness means you need to create plans properly, and the plans or procedures are to be practiced, are to be implemented. We have drill sometimes before an emergency occurs. And when we are prepared and when the actual disaster occurs, then you need to respond. And response is not reaction. Response means you need to take action during an emergency with all your preparedness at pace. And after response, when the disaster is over, then you go to the recovery phase, that is returning to normalcy after the disaster happens. So these are the key concepts of disaster management. Now, approaches in disaster management. What are the approaches? Number one, it is interdisciplinary collaboration. Various sectors, the different departments, the different members of the community, of the school, of the management, of the staff, and even the parents and staff, they should collaborate so that the preparedness becomes proper. And the community, the entire community, because disaster affects the entire community. So you need to involve the local stakeholders, you need to involve the entire community to be prepared or to respond to the disaster. Safety protocols that you need to make proper plan, that is evacuation plan, the first aid training, and sometimes it is also important to know about CPR and other type of first aids which are very, very handy and which are essential for life saving once a disaster occurs. Importance of disaster management plan. If we don't have a plan, then what happens? A plan is required. Awareness and plan, these are two words which are actually the basic building block of any management. So if we talk about disaster management, we need to make proper and detailed plan. The plan should be according to the specific need of the school environment. When we are sitting in Patna and we are talking about our schools in Patna or in Bihar, we need to remember that the entire Bihar is, you can tell that it is in seismic zone 4 and seismic zone 5. Patna comes under seismic zone 4. At the same time, we should remember in seismic zone 5. So they are very much prone to disasters like earthquake. At the same time, because of the faulty urban planning, the faulty mechanism of drainage system, and there are some natural problems also, the entire area of Patna is prone to waterlogging, sometimes to flash flood, sometimes to flood. So according to the school environment, according to the geographical location, according to the hazards which are very much there, and the exposure, we should assess the exposure also. We need to tailor our specific needs and we need to be prepared properly. And this management plan should include the risk assessment, the evacuation route, the communication with all the stakeholders. Like when a disaster occurs, from the management, there should be communication and instruction to the entire community who are there in that particular school. Maybe the staffs, the students, the teachers, and everyone who are present. And at the same time, there should be communication with the outer community also. And there should be proper strategy. The aim is to not to eradicate the disaster, because disasters are there, you cannot do away with them. But our aim is to minimize the harm and to ensure quick recovery. So, assessment, prevention if possible, preparedness, then proper response, proper communication, and recovery and mitigation. All those are our aims to minimize the harm and ensure quick recovery from a disaster. Now, I have already discussed this, and this is also very much clear to you that why does the disaster management matter in education. I have told already that schools are not only learning hubs, schools are also a small representation of the entire community. So when the school is affected, you have to take care and you have to minimize the whole harmful process so that the recovery is quick and the normalcy is possible after some time. Now, when we talk about disaster management, we need to know the real life examples of disaster. We have to remember so many things. You have seen the forest fire, you have seen the volcanic eruption, you have, even in Patna, we have seen the real earthquake situation, and the floods are very much regular in Patna or in entire Bihar. So we need to know all about these. We have to be aware about all those possibilities and probabilities of these hazards and risks. So why in schools? To ensure the safety and security of educational institution, we need to prepare for disaster, and the risk assessment should be there, as I have already told. And because of the escalation in natural and man-made disaster all over the globe, this is a global challenge and we need to respond to it. It is important for the educational institutions to protect the students, to protect the educators, protect the staff, and to maintain such an environment where learning is possible. The goal is to equip schools to withstand and respond to the disaster, and the focus is geography-based threat and the disaster management cycle. Building a culture of safety and resilience. Resilience is something which is very, very important nowadays. In our childhood days, or when we were growing up, we have faced many difficulties, many ups and downs in our lives, and that has, all those experiences have made us more resilient. Even when we get a punch from life, we again bounce back to normal, and that is called resilience. Nowadays, the children, they are so much pampered and taken care of, and everything of their demand is actually given to them. They have become less resilient. They cannot accept a no in life. They cannot face a disaster. So what happens if actually something very bad happens with them, happens with their life? They cannot bounce back to their normal being, like very naturally. So we need to make our entire community of students more resilient. And that we can do when, with the entire community of students and parents and teachers and educators, we assess the risk, we plan for the risk, and we communicate, we coordinate, we drill. There should be community engagement, there should be partnership, and all the stakeholders and all those who are affected by these disasters should come together and coordinate properly to build a culture of safety and resilience. And remember that when your students will know about these different types of risk and vulnerabilities, and when they will drill, when they will be the part of the plan, they will be better and they will be more resilient. So, community-based disaster management plan, the key elements are community empowerment. That is, the entire community is to be made responsible and they are to be empowered. You have to strengthen the local capacity, the local capability, and you need to make the most of the resources available so that the community is more efficient in handling the disaster, in managing the disaster. We need to strengthen the social networks also, because the communication should be clear, the communication should be two ways, and then we need to enhance the adaptive capacity and to increase the resilience of the entire community. When we talk about the importance of this community-based disaster management plan, of course, it aims to promote the health of disaster-affected community. But at the same time, we need to understand that a community has evolved through all odds. And from their past experiences, sometimes the old members of the community, they have some very much indigenous measures to face the disaster. So we need to take care of their traditional knowledges and their knowledge of common hazard, their the knowledge of the community, the database which is there in the community to potentially actually and efficiently face the affected areas when a disaster occurs. And you need to know that a CBDM or community-based disaster management system is effective because local knowledge and traditional practices are very much handy. We all know about that real story where the old man of the village, he was going to the seaside every day to catch fish. One day he observed that the sea is receding back, the sea is going back. He ran to the village community and told them that there's no time. You need to go to the hilltop because a disaster is going to come. Because the indigenous knowledge, the life experiences of that old man of the community made him aware that when the sea is going back, that means there is a chance of a tsunami. So the cultural resilience is important. The traditional coping mechanisms are important. And at the same time, the traditional knowledges as to how to face the different hazard, how to take care of the risk and the coping strategies, all these are very, very important. Remember that the first responders are actually the members of the stakeholders and the community. And the first few hours or the very first hour after the occurrence of the disaster is the golden hour. And in that golden hour, if someone who is very prepared, who knows about everything or who knows how to face, how to respond to the disaster, they can make a lot of difference. So quick action, efficient action, preparedness, and then increased trust and ownership is what is needed for a CBDM or community-based disaster management plan. This I have already told about the traditional knowledge and the cultural resilience, because your community actually, they coordinate, they communicate with each other, and they are by your side. And this cultural resilience actually encourages someone, motivates someone, or give help to someone to come back or recover from the shock and to come back to normalcy. Key strategies for fostering cultural resilience are documentation and digitization of endangered assets, community-based memory initiative to preserve cultural narratives, the policy frameworks, and the cross-cultural collaboration. The rebuilding of heritage and community knowledge, community identity is very much important. So don't feel that we are a modern creature, so we know better that how to respond to a disaster. It may be the oldest member of the community who knows the best. When we talk about the school safety and disaster management plan, the key objectives are safety of students and the staffs. We need to minimize the disruption in the teaching learning process, and we need to create a culture of safety and security. Okay, so what are the steps? And we have already discussed the steps are, first of all, we need to assess the hazards. When we were discussing about Patna and Bihar, we have already told that the geographical location made us more prone to the hazard like earthquake and flood. and waterlogging. And when waterlogging and flood are there, then there can be a pandemic or epidemic also. So the vulnerabilities, the resources, the hazards, everything has, we have to assess, and we need to actually make a calculation of our risk. And once we assess the risk, we have to make a foolproof plan for physical risk reduction. Suppose in your school, the lobbies, the galleries, or the staircases are very narrow, and the number of students in the school is very large. In that case, there is a physical stampede. When you go for evacuation, there can be rush on the corridor, on the staircase, and that's why you need to plan for physical risk reduction. Maybe you have to alter your infrastructure to make the plan foolproof. You need to maintain facilities and services. Nowadays, CBSE also tells us you have to take care of the firefighting arrangement in your school. You need to take care of the evacuation plan. There should be regular drills and all. And at the same time, these facilities should not be on the document. ऐसा नहीं सोचना चाहिए कि फायर फाइटिंग के लिए एक सर्टिफिकेट मिलने से हो जाएगा. No, 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 no. It's for your safety. It is for the safety and security of the children and the community. And that's why these plan and the facilities should be practically possible and practically available. All the facilities and services which are required for a proper disaster management plan. So you need to develop the standard operating procedure also once the plans are proper. And training. Training is fire drill, earthquake evacuation drill, time to time to tell the students again and again which they can expect in case an earthquake occurs. What will be the situation? What they have to do? If the tremor is there, they need to drop, cover, and hold. And once the tremor subsides, then they know their evacuation route, and through the evacuation route, without any panic, without any rush, they need to evacuate the building. So all these things, the training and the drill and the practice and the awareness should be in place. And then you need to, after every mock drill, you need to assess जो टाइम लगना चाहिए था इवैक्यूएशन के लिए. सो आपने सोचा होगा कि एंटायर इवैक्यूएशन फॉर द एंटायर बिल्डिंग इट शुड टेक समथिंग लाइक 5 minutes. बट आप जब देखते हो मॉक ड्रिल के बाद कि 7 मिनट लगा, 10 मिनट लगा, यू नीड टू फाइंड आउट कि कहाँ लूप होल्स रह गया, एंड देन यू हैव टू रीप्लान एंड री-इम्प्लीमेंट इट and go for another practice or regular practice to keep it in place and to make it efficient enough. When you are preparing the school disaster management plan, you need to identify the hazard. You need to develop the prevention, mitigation, and response plans. Like there are some hazards which you can prevent. In every school, there is a chemistry laboratory. So in the chemistry, there are gas, like the gas cylinders are there. There are proper ways to keep the gas cylinders. But then who are using it, they should know about the precaution. Before every activity, the key word is precaution. So even if you are going to the kitchen, you should know that you should not enter the kitchen when you are dressed in a synthetic cloth. You should know that your the gas leakage should not be there. And if you feel that there is a gas leakage, you need to open all the windows and the doors. You have to inform, you have to switch off everything. There should not be any splinter nearby. In the same way, whenever we are talking about the school disaster management plan, a lot can be minimized, mitigated when you make a prevention and precaution plan and a response plan. Risk assessment is very much required. And then you need to define the role and responsibility. अगर हमने डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट प्लान बना रहे हैं, उसका हेड कौन होंगे, उसमें कौन कोऑर्डिनेट करने वाले हैं, कौन कम्युनिकेट करेंगे, कौन क्या चीज का कंट्रोल करेंगे, किसको अगर अर्थक्वेक होगा तो उसमें कौन सा कम्युनिटी काम करने वाले हैं, अगर फ्लड वाला सिचुएशन है उसमें कौन सा कम्युनिटी काम करने वाले हैं, what are the phone numbers which should be handy, whom to inform, whom not to inform, and how to keep yourself cool. So that these all things are covered under the school disaster management plan. And you need to involve the whole school. You need to collaborate between the different sections of the school, be it the staff, the teachers, the students, and the parents, because the entire community is affected when a disaster comes. What are the implementation steps? You need to update your knowledge, your awareness, and the plan regularly. So regularly based, you have to assess the new risks also with changing circumstances. And then you need to train regularly. The awareness should be at place. And then you need to drill. Once the plan is there, you need to practice. And you need to test the plan, whether the plan is efficient enough to face the disaster. Okay. So when you are forming the school disaster management committee or the SDMC, what is the role of the school principal? The principal, of course, he is the mentor of the entire school. He is the leader of the entire school. And that is why the principal should provide leadership here also. He or she should take the responsibility for guiding the entire community, for monitoring what is happening and is it going in the positive way. And then he should be responsible for the coordination of the disaster management within the school. And he or she has to delegate the specific duties to committee members. तो committee member, committee बनने के बाद जिसमें members कौन-कौन होंगे? Principal, of course, is the head. Then the teachers, and teachers will have specific responsibility. Earthquake का जो टीम होगा, earthquake response team, उनका एक अलग हेड हो सकता है. जो flood management team, उनका एक अलग हेड हो सकता है. Because there are instances where a number of disaster can come together. Flood आया, साथ ही साथ epidemic भी आ गया. So these members, the teachers, they should be there should be specific role for each one of them. The administrative personnel, maybe the gatekeeper, the canteen staff, the security staff, the drivers, the conductors, the other administrative staff, they all will be the member of this SDMC because they have key responsibilities to make the plan successful practically. Then the parents, we should not forget them. There should be proper communication afterwards, but once we face the situation properly. And the parents, because they have their words in your school, so they are going to help you if you make them properly responsible, make them a part of the SDMC. And the local experts, it can be the NDRF people, the SDRF people, the local police station, the hospital staff, the doctors nearby, the police station, the firefighters, all can be the members. Not all can be, they should be the members because they all are the stakeholders. They are the members of the community and they know better than us. So that is why when we are making the plan or when we are making the SDMC, they should be made the members of this SDMC or School Disaster Management Committee. What are the key duties? To draft it, to draft the plan, to review the plan, to implement the disaster management plan, not only in the case of actual occurrence of the disaster, but also time to time to review and to drill and to practice. And this entire SDMC has to work with the disaster management experts. I have told the SDRF people, the NDRF people, the local experts, they will assist you, they will guide you to make a better plan. And also you need to review the budget and you need to obtain the funds and you need to ensure proper funding for disaster management activities, because this is not something that it should be there because CBSE has told. It is something very, very important because we all can be affected when a disaster comes. Now these are the different steps of the school disaster management plan. First off, sensitization meeting for formation of the school disaster management committee, then hazard identification, safety assessment, then preparation for the disaster and formation and training of the school disaster management team. Then the next step is awareness activities and dissemination or the spreading of the plan to everybody, because everybody should know about it. If there is an evacuation route on your third floor, then each one in the school should know about it. जो पीपीडब्ल्यू के छोटे छोटे बच्चे वो किस रूट से इवैक्यूएट उनको करना है, अगर मेरे स्कूल में 2 स्पेशली एबल्ड चाइल्ड है, किस रूट से उनको लेके जाना है, everything is to be planned. Conduct regular mock drill and then after every drill you need to evaluate the plan to improve the effectiveness. Now, what are the characteristics of the school disaster management plan? It should include or it must include the explicit instruction for immediate action. If you regularly, sometimes maybe every Saturday, you make a small meeting, you sensitize the students repeatedly, you have a mock drill often, maybe once in 15 days, once in a month, then they will be aware कि एक्चुअली अगर अर्थक्वेक होगा तो ऐसा सिचुएशन हो सकता है और उसमें मुझे ये करना है. एक फायर स्कूल में आग लग गया इसी तरीका से, तो कैसे जाना है, कैसे डक का पोज में चलना है, एंड इन every case the evacuation route or the evacuation, the way of evacuation cannot be the same. ठीक है? So you need to include the explicit instruction and this instruction should be flexible enough because adjustments will be there and adjustments should be there. You cannot make a foolproof plan always because there will be change situation. So the alterations are also necessary. And actually the objective is to minimize the suffering, is to minimize the loss, and that we need to keep in mind. We need to evaluate and update not only annually, maybe biannually, and you need to make a straightforward step by step process, a SOP that's clear, simple to implement and contains standard process. प्लेन में देखे हैं, प्लेन में लिखा हुआ रहता है कि अगर कुछ इमरजेंसी लैंडिंग हो गया तो दिस विल बी योर रूट थ्रू विच यू कैन गो आउट. So the students and the teachers should know, मेरा थर्ड फ्लोर में आग लगेगा तो मेरे लिए इवैक्यूएशन रूट क्या क्या हो सकता है, अगर ये वाला रूट बंद है तो कहाँ जाना है मुझे. And they should know that we, in case of a disaster, we should never use the lift. And in case of an earthquake, you should not go out till the tremor is there. So all these little things are to be given to them, are to be practiced, are to be told and again, so that there is no mistake once a situation really occurs. So when you are making the school disaster management plan, what are the basic details? You need to have, if possible, to have a blueprint of the school name, the address of the school, and the contact information. Contact information of the local police station, contact information of the local firefighters, the hospital, the medical fraternity, and all the parents. all these things, the helpline numbers should be handy and keep them at strategic location. आपका front office में, आपके principal office में, आपके main office, main notice board में, ये जो contact information that should be there, that in case of emergency, you need to contact these people. Demographic details, I have already told, the number of students in every classroom, and of course, with asterisk marks, students with disabilities. If a student cannot walk properly, he cannot be an efficient part of the evacuation plan. He or she needs some extra help. So you need to make some staffs or teachers responsible for helping them out. Maybe जो evacuation route बाकी सब के लिए है, उस students with special abilities or disabilities, you need to take another route. Now you should also know about the types of disability. आंख से कम दिखाई देता है क्या, चलने में प्रॉब्लम है क्या, टच करने में कुछ प्रॉब्लम है, होल्ड करने में प्रॉब्लम है. So you should know all your students and staffs and your teachers to help them efficiently. Objectives we have already discussed, and methodology, preparedness, mitigation, response, recovery, the involvement of the stakeholders, and the community engagement. The local people, the bhaiya who is having a shop nearby, the doctor who is having a clinic nearby, they all can be a part of your local stakeholders and they can help you. Their help will reach you at the first. So please make them a part of your plan. When we talk about mitigation plan, or you need to make the effect, the bad effect of the disaster, you need to reduce the bad effect of the disaster, you need to talk about the structural mitigation also. आपके स्कूल के बिल्डिंग अगर बहुत पुराना है, उसमें वो अर्थक्वेक रेजिस्टेंट नहीं है, तो देयर इज द ऑप्शन ऑफ रेट्रोफिटिंग. बाद में आजकल ऐसा इंजीनियरिंग और टेक्नोलॉजिकल थिंग्स है जिसको आप ऐड करके आपके इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को मे बी अर्थक्वेक प्रूफ बना सकते हो और फायर से उसको कम हानि पहुंचे ऐसा बना सकते हो. सो स्ट्रक्चरल मिटिगेशन, not non-structural mitigation in case of the education, the policy and the communication, the action items for reducing risk, all these are the plan of mitigation. Now, there can be some problems inside and outside the school. Internally, there can be safety hazard within the school premises. There can be lack of emergency resources. An external problem, there can be because of the particular location or because of the drainage condition, because of the road condition, there can be vulnerability or the risk or the hazard zone nearby. आपके स्कूल के एकदम बगल में, मेरे स्कूल के बगल में एक सीमेंट मिक्सिंग फैक्ट्री है, तो ये तो एक हजार्ड है ही है. दे आर एक्चुअली giving out a lot of like fumes and minute particles in the air, and it is a potential hazard for our students because that can affect their pulmonary and cardiac system. So you need to know about your external problems and internal problems, and you need to make your plan according to that. The solution is infrastructure improvement and partnership with local. You need to go back to them and tell that, भैया या तो आप ये चीज करो आपके इंडस्ट्रियल यूनिट के साथ, otherwise you shift to some other location. So you need to communicate with them and you need to take care of all of this. So I have already talked about this, and now the preparedness plan. The facilities outside the school, the designated shelters nearby, evacuation points nearby, the hospitals nearby, all these should be known because these are the facilities outside the school. The evacuation plan should be meticulously designed and it should be detailed with map, if possible, on every floor, you can display the map of the evacuation route. What are the exits from this floor? The equipments and tools should be known to everyone, and the staffs or the teachers should be able to handle the equipments and the tools efficiently. And there should be regular capacity building by the process of drilling and training session. These are the stakeholders. We have already discussed about it, and this is the disaster management cycle. Now, it's a cycle because you come back to the initial point. If the hazards are there, if the risks are there, then disaster can occur at any time. So you start from the risk of a disaster, then the actual disaster, and when the disaster comes, you need to go for responding, then rescue and relief, then rehabilitation, reconstruction, again planning, that is replanning for prevention, for mitigation, and preparedness to face the actual situation before it comes. So it's a cycle. Every time it is never going to come to an end. Given the new normal situation, you need to be always prepared, and you need to review your plan, and you need to drill more often. The role of teachers, this is very important for us. The teachers have to be prepared. They need to educate the students about the safety procedure, about the emergency protocols. They need to develop and implement the emergency response plan. They need to conduct regular drills. And then they are the ones who respond to the disaster or to the accident first. So you need to be able to provide immediate first aid and medical assistance. And इसीलिए मैं बोलती हूँ कि CPR सीखना बहुत जरूरी है. How to handle when someone is choking, when someone is unconscious, you should know, you should be able to assess the situation. और उसमें क्या करना है? आपका जो common sense है उसको तो place पे रहना ही है. At the same time, there should be proper, you should be equipped with proper knowledge and proper skill to assist your students and to respond to the situation very promptly and efficiently. Okay, so the teacher's role is there not only for preparedness, for response, but also for mitigation and for recovery. When we are talking about recovery, it's not only the physical, someone has written something, I think it has gone somewhere, so I have to see it afterwards. So when we are talking about recovery, it's not only physical recovery. Sometimes you need to support your students to recover academically and emotionally and socially also. Because of the shock, because of less resilience, sometimes your students are badly affected. And that's why you need to help them to recover and to come back to normal. First aid components, I have told many times, the basic life support system, that's the CPR. You should know it, you should practice it, you should be equipped to deliver it. The wound care, deep wound के समय क्या करना है, अगर scratch है क्या करना है, choking में क्या करना है, how to treat burns, how to manage fractures, how to keep your fractured limb immobile with whatever is available in the classroom, that you should know how to handle the choking. Okay, the common signs of trauma in children after a disaster, because of the shock, because of the emotional shock, psychosomatic shock, there sometimes it is very difficult for the children to come back to normal situation, and there the children, the teacher's role is there, the parents' role is there to help them to cope with the shock and to come back to normal and to recover. Okay, so encourage dialogue and answer the questions. Listen to your children. You need to limit the media exposure because sometimes rumor bhi hota hai. Make time for them and find the support. Keep to a routine. Offer children safe ways to express their feelings, like drawing pictures, pretend play, telling their own story. For every shock, you need to help them to recover. Now, this life competency skill for teachers, these are some skills which are very much essential for all of us. You need to try and understand the children. It's not only your duty to go to the class and to deliver your lecture. You need to try and understand the children. You need to reduce the impact of disaster or any shock. Accept their behavior. Sometimes they are very gloomy, they are not talking, or they are crying. Let them cry, let them vent out, and continuously monitor them, help them, and let them know that you are there by their side to help them to recover, to help them to restore, and to make them more resilient. So, model positive living, good coping skills, you need to practice, and you need to try to help your students to return to their normal life routine, and you also return to normal life routine if, God forbids, if some emergency occurs, if some disaster occurs. You need to know, you need to have those skills which will help you to recover and come back to normal. And we are going to end it with the quote. Quote, preparedness is not fear. It's a courage to face the storm before it arrives, and the wisdom to rebuild stronger after it passes. So एक बार अर्थक्वेक आने के बाद ऐसा बिल्डिंग बनाना पड़ेगा कि अर्थक्वेक से उसको कुछ होने वाला नहीं है, या तो ऐसा कम्युनिटी बनाना पड़ेगा जो जानते हैं कि in the case of a severe earthquake क्या करना है. So we have to be aware. Let us be aware, prepared, and more resilient. And for everything, you need the awareness, the knowledge, and the plan. And you need to communicate and coordinate with the entire community and with your students to cope better in case of an emergency situation. That much from my side. If there is any question, you can ask me. And believe me, this is something very important for all of us. So it's not that it's just a training session. It is something which is very important for all of us. Thank you. Thank you. If any question is there, you can ask. We can discuss actually. Is there anyone from Sahodaya? Himanshu sir is there. Okay. I thankfully accept your love and your patient hearing and your sweet messages.
Good evening,
So
Rama ma'am.
I think, yes, thank you. Simple ma'am is there.
Yeah, good evening, ma'am. I'm here.
Yes, good evening, good evening.
I hope our Himanshu sir is also here.
Okay, okay. So thank you everyone. Someone is writing that it was a nice session, informative session, and it's not only informative, actually it is very important. It's urgent to know कि क्या करना है क्या नहीं करना है ना? जस्ट कुछ दिन पहले एक अच्छा स्कूल में प्री प्राइमरी क्लास में एक बच्चा चोक कर रहा था, but the teacher was not knowing how to handle such a situation. ऐसा हम लोग के साथ ना हो. हम लोग को पता होना चाहिए कि कैसे मैनूवर करना है, कैसे एब्डोमिनल थ्रस्ट देना है, कैसे बैक में थपथपाना है ताकि जो चोकिंग ऑब्जेक्ट है वो निकाल आए. अगर हीट स्ट्रोक है तो क्या करना चाहिए, कैसे यू नीड टू मेक दैट पर्सन bathe with everything, with cold water, how to make him or her cool down, and how to save his or her life. सामने अगर कुछ खराब हुआ तो we should be equipped with proper knowledge and proper skill. Otherwise, ये जो बुकिश नॉलेज है और क्लास में जाके जो लेक्चर डिलीवर करते हैं उसका कोई नतीजा नहीं निकल सकता है. Thank you.
Yes, really, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. I think Himanshu sir is not present. He is in the
Okay.
meeting, but I think he is not. So thank you, Rama ma'am, for such an insightful training. Uh,
Thank you so much.
you have given so many tips what a school should do, what a teacher should do, and I hope we all the learners should know about it and deal it. So thank you so much, Rama ma'am, once again.
Yes,
And
thank you so much.
I have shared the attendance link to all the participants. I hope you must fill it and complete it. So once again, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Himanshu
Okay.
sir, for
Good
such,
evening and bye
such
bye.
a good by
Yes.
very nice topic he has selected. I don't know, Himanshu sir has selected or Rama ma'am you,
No,
but
that
thanks to
I have only selected because it's a new topic.
so
Yes,
it's
very
very
new
important
and
topic.
essential to know.
Very essential. Yes. So thank you once again, Rama ma'am, and thank you all the entire team of Aryavarta Sahodaya. Thank you, Himanshu sir. Goodbye, ma'am.
Okay. So good evening and I'm quitting today. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.